Hey everyone, Longacres Finance here with the Dividend Aristocrat update for July 2021. Nobl, the Dividend Aristocrat fund, did not have a good return in June. The fund lost 1.27%, which happened to be the fund's second worst return during June since 2004. On a year-to-date basis, through 6 months, the fund is up 14.52%. This means it's no longer having its best start to the year. In 2019, the fund was up 15.22% at this point. Nevertheless, a 14.52% return through 6 months is nothing to sneeze at. The fund is still on track to have a phenomenal year. The current return places 2021 as the fourth best year thus far, behind 2019 and 2017 when the fund returned more than 20%, and 2014 when the fund finished the year with a 15.54% gain. 2014 is well within the reach, seeing how we still have another 6 months to go in 2021. Let's take a look at how individual Dividend Aristocrats performed in June. The average return of all 65 Dividend Aristocrats in June was minus 1.11%, which is better than the return for Nobl. But it's impossible to maintain an equal allocation to all Dividend Aristocrats at all times. The allocation drift along with the fees charged by Nobl has thus far resulted in 0.8% underperformance versus the average return of all Dividend Aristocrats. Now this could work in the opposite direction too. You'll notice that in March of this year, the Nobl fund beat the average Dividend Aristocrats by 0.6%. In this instance, the allocation drift worked in Nobl's favor. The best individual return in June was 8.16% from S&P Global. The worst individual return in June was minus 9.73% from Caterpillar. 25 Dividend Aristocrats had positive returns in June. 8 more Dividend Aristocrats had a negative return, but one that was better than Nobl's return. And the remaining 32 Dividend Aristocrats all had negative returns that were worse than Nobl's return. Year to date, Nucor still has the best return of 82.02%. However, the stock shed 6.05% in June after 4 consecutive months of positive returns. Exxon is the second best performing Dividend Aristocrat this year, with a return of 57.93%. Exxon added 8.07% in June to push the year-to-date return into the 50s. With 6 months to go this year, perhaps it can still catch up to Nucor. In third place is Federal Realty Trust, with a 40.22% year-to-date return. Federal Realty added 3.38% in June. Behind the top 3 stocks, we have 8 companies that are up over 30% this year. A.O. Smith Corporation is up 32.55%. They also had a positive return in June of 1.39%. Ben Franklin Resources is up 30.36% this year, even after dropping 5.67% last month. Cincinnati Financial slides down to 34.98% in 2021, after dropping 3.68% in June. Expeditors International of Washington moves up to 33.72% on the year, with a 0.72% gain last month. People's United Financial slides down 9.36%, to put them at 35.67% on the year. Target Tech's on 6.53% in June to move up to 37.89% in 2021. T. Rowe Price Group picks up 5.64% last month and climbs to 34.35% this year. And Walgreens trimmed 0.09% on the month and moves down to 34.33%. 11 Dividend Aristocrats are in the red this year after 6 months. Amcor is down 0.63%. Becton Dickinson is down 2.14%. Brown-Forman Company is down 5.2%. Colgate-Palmolive is down 3.79%. Clorox is down 9.93%. Ecolab is down 4.38%. McCormick & Company is down 7.25%. NextEra Energy is down 4.01%. Procter & Gamble is down 1.82%. VF Corporation is down 2.76%. And Walmart is down 1.38%. These 11 aristocrats still have 6 months to recover. It'll be interesting to see how many of them do. Let's take a look at how our Dividend Aristocrat strategies fared in June, and how they're doing this year. The top 10 highest yielding aristocrats were down 1.47% in June, losing by 0.2% to Nobl. The top 10 fastest growing Dividend Aristocrats, in terms of dividend growth, were up 0.45% in June. That puts them 1.72% ahead of Nobl for the month. And the 10 most undervalued aristocrats were down 0.93% for the month, putting them 0.34% ahead of Nobl. The month of June goes to the fastest growing aristocrats, with the most undervalued finishing second and high yield third. Let's see how each strategy is doing in 2021. The top 10 highest yielding aristocrats are up 25.3% through the first 6 months of 2021. That puts them 10.77% ahead of Nobl. The fastest growing Dividend Aristocrats are up 16.78% for the year, which puts them 2.26% ahead of Nobl. And the most undervalued aristocrats are up 16.18%, which puts them 1.66% ahead of Nobl. Even after losing the month, the highest yielding aristocrats are still ahead of the 2 other strategies by a wide margin. Each approach is paying off as of right now and would generate alpha for investors. June was the second month won by the fastest growing aristocrats. The highest growing aristocrats have also won 2 months, January and February, while the undervalued aristocrats and Nobl have only won 1 month each thus far. The almost 8.5% cushion the high-yield strategy has on growth and undervaluation may be enough to win the year. 6 months is still a long time, but that is a large margin to trim. If you watch my channel, you may be familiar with my monthly Undervalued Dividend Aristocrats series. If not, you can check out the July update using the link in the top right corner. As stated in that video, the historical returns for the monthly Undervalued Dividend Aristocrats will now be part of this update. And here they are. There were 12 Undervalued Dividend Aristocrats in June. AbbVie, Atmos Energy, Becton Dickinson, Clorox, Chevron, ComEd, General Dynamics, Hormel, Kimberly-Clark, AT&T, Walgreens, and Exxon. These 12 stocks returned minus 0.05% during June, which was 1.23% better than the Nobl Fund. The Undervalued Aristocrats from May kicked off the series with a poor result, but the Undervalued Aristocrats for June offer a little redemption. In a mock buy and hold portfolio, the Undervalued Dividend Aristocrats are up 0.53% since May of 2021. Nobl is up 1.15% over the same time period. My original hypothesis was that this strategy of targeting undervalued dividend aristocrats could beat the Nobl Fund, but it would take a long time to see that outperformance. When stocks trend down to undervalued territory, sometimes they can remain there for prolonged periods of time. I hope to document this in this video series over the next months and years. That's it guys, thank you for watching and see you next time.